A man walks into a pharmacy at 2 a.m. for the third time this week. He doesn't need the pills. He needs to not feel what he's been carrying since he was 7. For decades, we've asked the wrong question about addiction. We ask why the drug, why the drink, why the scrolling. Gabor Maté says we should be asking something else entirely. And once you see it, you can't unsee it in yourself or in anyone you love. The wrong question. When someone is addicted, we ask why they keep using. But that question already assumes the drug is the problem. What if it isn't? In 1998, Vincent Felitti led a landmark study called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, or ACE. It looked at over 17,000 adults and found something nobody expected. A person with 4 or more rough childhood experiences was almost 500% more likely to develop an addiction later in life. Not slightly more. 5 times. Think about the heaviest drinker you know. Or the friend who can't put their phone down. Now imagine asking them not what they're chasing, but what they're running from. That's a different conversation. The real question isn't why the addiction. It's why the pain. And that pain almost always starts somewhere very specific. What trauma does. A child's brain is still being built, and the wiring it builds depends on what's happening around it. A safe home wires a calm brain. An unsafe one wires a brain that's always bracing for impact. Bessel van der Kolk laid this out in his 2014 book, The Body Keeps the Score. When a child lives with chronic stress, their stress system, the one that produces cortisol and adrenaline, never fully switches off. Over time, the brain stops being good at calming itself down. The reward center gets blunted. The fear center gets louder. Years later, that grown-up walks around feeling either numb or overwhelmed, and they don't know why. Maybe you know someone who flinches at a raised voice, or panics when a text goes unanswered for an hour. Their adult brain is reacting, but the alarm system was installed long before they could choose it. So you have a nervous system that can't settle, a reward center that can't feel pleasure, and somewhere out there is something that will quiet all of it for a little while. The self-medicating mind. Nobody gets hooked because they want to ruin their life. They get hooked because, for the first time in years, something finally works. The drink quiets the noise. The phone fills the empty space. The food softens the ache. Gabor Maté worked for over a decade as a doctor on the downtown east side of Vancouver, treating some of the most severely addicted people in North America. In his 2008 book, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, he writes that he never met a single addicted patient whose addiction wasn't rooted in early trauma. Not one. The drug wasn't the disease. It was their best attempt at a cure. Think of the last time you reached for your phone before you'd even noticed why, or poured a second drink the moment a hard feeling showed up. It isn't weakness. It's a very old reflex doing exactly what it learned to do. Make the bad feelings smaller, fast. The substance is a stranger, but the reflex is family, and it was passed down long before you were old enough to refuse it. The childhood you carry. Trauma is rarely a single event. More often, it's a climate. A house where love came with conditions, a parent who was there but not really there. And that climate doesn't just shape the child, it shapes the parent the child becomes. Maté tells his own story openly. He was an infant in Budapest in 1944 during the Nazi occupation. His mother, terrified and starving, handed him to a stranger on the street just to keep him alive. He survived. But that fear lived in his nervous system for the next 60 years and showed up as a workaholism he could not stop. His addiction wasn't to a drug. It was to staying busy enough to never feel that infant's terror again. You might not have a war in your story, but maybe there was a parent who was always tired, or always angry, or always somewhere else, even when they were in the room. You learned, very young, what to do with feelings that nobody had time for. Buried them, and buried things don't stay buried forever. What you weren't allowed to feel as a child will run your life as an adult, until you finally let yourself feel it. What healing looks like. Most people try to beat an addiction the way you'd beat an enemy. Shame it, punish it, out-discipline it. It almost never works for long, because the part of you doing the addicting is the wounded part. And wounded parts don't respond to threats. What does work across decades of trauma research looks almost embarrassingly simple. Safety, connection, being seen by another human being without judgment, a nervous system that learned in childhood that the world wasn't safe needs years of evidence that it is. That evidence is built one relationship at a time. So instead of asking yourself why you can't just stop, try asking what you were trying to soothe. And instead of judging the person you love who's struggling, try being the safe place they never had. Addiction is not a moral failure. It's a wound asking, in the only language it knows, to finally be held. So the next time you watch someone you love disappear into something that's hurting them, don't ask why they keep doing it. Ask what happened to them long before they had a word for it. And the next time you catch yourself reaching for the thing that quiets your own noise, try just sitting with the noise for a moment. That's where the child you used to be is waiting. The child is still in there. Go listen.